we're back. What's up, everybody? Benja, Welldone, coming at you live on this beautiful corona-free day. Today is Monday, September the 7th at 5:31 in the morning. How are you doing? As you can tell, I'm wearing my gi because I'm on my way to go train jiu-jitsu. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great day. Happy Labor Day to everyone working out there hard. And for those of you that don't have the opportunity of working right now because of your government, corona, or whatever, my condolences. So here's the thing. On my last video, I made a comment about my passions, being comedy, stand-up comedy, and jiu-jitsu. And how one of the greatest feelings is working on them. With comedy, it could be on stage, off stage. When I'm coming up with a new idea, I could be doing new writing or working on editing for a joke, and then I try out the joke to make it even more perfect until I finally got it. Jiu-jitsu could be working on a move or something like that, and then it just sort of dawned on me. I sort of realized something. You know, and this isn't just for me, this is for everybody, but just to keep it more simple as far as I go, I'll just relate to myself. I've been a comedian a lot longer than I've been doing comedy. I've been a jiu-jitsu practitioner a lot longer than I've been training jiu-jitsu. I've been a warrior a lot longer than I was in the Army, and even before I was in the Army, because that warrior spirit has to be inside you to sort of have that transition into. My point is this. I was sort of doing some thinking the other day, and I was telling myself, you know what? At what point do you really become who you are? Because for many, many years before I moved to Texas, I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. Always. I just didn't have an opportunity to do it. In many, many years, I've wanted to do jiu-jitsu, but I didn't have an opportunity to do it. So I essentially live my life every single day feeling like I'm below water, and I'm not drowning. I'm holding my breath, and I'm trying to swim to the top because I feel like I'm always behind. I feel like I got to catch up to where I feel like I want to be, and I am, and I should be inside. Because I haven't been doing comedy physically as long as other people, or jiu-jitsu by any means as long as other people. But I put that thought into it, and I have the drive of, think of it like this. If you had a car, and let's just call that car a career path, for example, whatever, it was only going 10 miles an hour, okay? And then after every year, let's just say you're going only 10 miles. Just stick with me. 10 miles an hour, 10 years, 10 miles per year. I know you cover a lot more distance than that, but I'm just trying to make a simple point, is this. After 10 years, you would have gone 100 miles, right? Well, I feel like I'm many years behind, so I feel like I'm driving 100 miles an hour. And even though it's my second year, because my beginning speed, I feel like I'm always trying to catch up. And I've had 10 years of thought into it, which is essentially how long I've really been wanting to pursue comedy, but just the opportunity, they don't have a place to do it. Like if you're in the middle of Nebraska and you've always wanted to do comedy, you're not really in a place to pursue that. I wasn't in Nebraska, but my point is still complete in what I'm saying. I've wanted to do both of these. It could have been, it was usually a money thing when it came to jiu-jitsu, because it's so expensive. You got to pay for not just the training, but also parking and living in DC, and it's so expensive, and the traffic, and then everything else. But yeah, the money was the biggest part, because it's just so expensive, and then you got to pay for parking everywhere, and it's really bad. But I haven't ever stopped wanting it. And then on top of that is comedy. Ever since I'd say, yeah, just for discussion purposes, I'll say the Army. Ever since the Army, I've always wanted to pursue comedy, but I didn't really have a venue for it. And I realized telling stories and having all these different experiences, like going to Rush and stuff like that, I got all these great stories. Now, I've always observed things from a different angle. And when I put it together and I tell it back, it's funny. And essentially, what I'm working on doing is getting paid by causing people to have a physical and emotional reaction to things that I say, which make them happy. In short, that's what comedy is. It's a guy, myself, getting paid, which I have been and am working on doing full time, to give people an emotional reaction of happiness. It sounds complicated when I say it like that, right? But what I'm getting at is that because I always feel like I'm behind, and like I feel like I'm holding my breath trying to swim up just to get above surface. I'm so big and huge in a production, I don't have any fat in my day. I even schedule my fun for real. But I also balance it with like meditation, and I don't mean like sitting holding hands in a circle or something like that. I mean like a relaxing activity that I can focus on, which is, for me, it's archery. Archery is a 1,000 plus old skill, and it's so much fun watching and relaxing before you take a shot and just, you know, and you just gotta knock out all distractions, relax, and it just gives you a moment to calm down and to focus on an activity. And it's so much fun. Plus, it's great. You know, you can use it for hunting, potentially fishing. If you were to do that type of fishing, you can fish with a bow. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that's how I live my life. That's how I do everything. And I don't really have a specific day as far as how long I've been doing comedy, because sometimes people ask me that, and I just give them the on-stage answer. But I have been pursuing it long before. I started writing for comedy in 2008 in the Army. I didn't start pursuing it because I moved to Texas for this, and jiu-jitsu, but primarily comedy, but jiu-jitsu too. Like I said, they're my passions. A little over a year ago when I moved here. So now that I'm doing it, it's like I kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm not boasting myself, I'm not talking myself up. But the truth of the situation is that I feel like I'm in fifth gear on the start line. And regardless of how fast or how hard I ever work, I'm not going to catch up. But it doesn't matter. Well, what I'm saying is that there isn't any catching up because there isn't a finish line. There isn't a finish line in my comedy. There's not a finish line in jiu-jitsu. But I can tell you this. I feel like I'm a Formula One race car engine. Or race car. With a Formula One race car engine inside me, because what's going on here? Nobody's here already. I just pulled up to jiu-jitsu. Nobody's here. I'm a little early. Because I'm constantly working on being better, making sure I'm always productive, that not a minute is ever wasted in my day. Because I've already had enough of those that I'm not going to get back. So I don't want to make sure there's any more added on to that total before I move to Texas. So, yeah. But anyway, it's just sort of a weird, philosophical, interesting thing to think about as far as when you became yourself and how long you've been doing something. You know, I mean, do you contribute how long a tree has been a tree from when you put the seed in the ground? What about when the seed first came to fruition? Like, if there was no seed in my hand, and then a tree, you see what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you give an individual, it might be a lot more clear and concrete if there was like a specific event that happened that made you want to like be a dentist or pursue being a doctor or a lawyer. I don't care, whatever, it doesn't matter, you know. But I'm a big believer in the seed. What I mean by that is I'm a big believer in you being who you are from that internal growth, not necessarily external. But if you get what I was saying earlier, that internal growth has been growing for so long in me, and I feel like I've been bound from pursuing this. Now I'm like exploding at the scene on comedy and jiu-jitsu, and in jiu-jitsu, like I was saying. So I said comedy jiu-jitsu, I was just breaking it up with and. But I'm excited for what lies ahead, but this is also part of the biggest things that I'm not feeling, that I wasn't liking, and I'm still not liking at all. This whole Corona thing is because, in the most selfish way possible, I know people aren't able to work and stuff like that, and all this stuff is going on, but it doesn't take away the fact that I went so long wanting something without having an opportunity to do it. I moved from DC to Texas to pursue it. Now I'm doing comedy, and then Corona happened, and I had all these different dates and states and cities and stuff lined up. And now I feel like it got taken away from me again. So to prevent me from feeling that way, thank goodness jiu-jitsu opened up again. And I've been doing constant writing. And I really did find my voice. I really did find who I am just through like a series of conversations with my great friend. Best. He's amazing. But anyway, but yeah, so that's just a question I don't have the answer to. I know what I might believe the answer is, which is, when did you become yourself? When did you become a warrior? When did you become a soldier? I became a warrior before I entered the army. I don't necessarily have a date, but I've always been that way, and that's how I feel, so that's how I am. That's me. In comedy, I don't have an exact date, but I know I started bringing my ideas and the inside out in 2008, because that was when I started writing comedy on a Microsoft Word document, and constantly updating it. And it's up to like 1,000, maybe like 1,000 pages by now. So that's a lot. And then during this Corona period, I really found out to the biggest core who I am as far as comedy goes. Just through discussions and then looking at my prior stuff that I had written and stuff like that. And then everything just connected together. So I'm ready to get out on the scene and be the best me ever, and start to really get a foothold in this world and move forward. Anyway, I gotta go inside. I'm about to train. I'm Benja Welldone. Have a beautiful day. Check me out. Bye-bye.